The throw throws a deep pass downfield. Got Scotty Miller in the open. Makes the catch. Touchdown Tampa Bay. And Brady puts it right on the spot.
They're going to run a float pass. This time, touchdown! Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes.
Brady goes on the other. Caught ball. Touchdown Tampa Bay. It is Cameron Brate.
The Chiefs are back-to-back AFC champions.
The Bucs have punched their ticket to Super Bowl 55.
The countdown to Tampa, baby. Super Bowl 55 is ahead of us. A handful of sleeps till we get there. We're right here on Good Morning Football every morning until then. Our show brought to you by Truist as we sit here on a Thursday, January 28th, almost February, almost time for the Super Bowl. My name's Kay Adams, Nate Burleson, Peter Schrager, Kyle Brandt, all here. We've got Tom Pelissero on the show, Kenny Golladay joining the program. We'll talk about versus Daquan Jones on the program. It'll be a good one today, Kyle.
It's going to be a great one. We have 10 days into the Super Bowl. We're almost into single digits.
Yeah, that's really crazy. And we are excited about everything going on in the Big Guava. It's time for the lead block.
It is time for the lead block.
All right, 10 days away, as Kyle said. The Chiefs are getting ready. The patches are being sewn on in Kansas City. That should get you excited. Goosebumps galore. A year ago, they were wearing red jerseys and hosting the Lombardi Trophy. So if they can pull it off again, what would back-to-back Super Bowls mean for Kansas City, Kyle, as we see this stitching going on?
Well, I'm going to play to the strengths of the table, and I'm going to reference Tolkien.
Yeah.
In the,
I got you.
I know. On this side. In the
like
Lord of the
an
Rings
arcade?
trilogy. No, not Tolkien. The Tolkien.
Oh.
Very different.
Gotcha.
In the Lord of the Rings trilogies, there's this vision of Sam and Frodo if Sauron gets the ring back, and it's this dark, ashen hellscape. I feel like that's the NFL if Mahomes gets the ring back. He is Sauron as it pertains to the rest of the NFL. It would mean there's no answer. They can't be beat. They're running the world. And, for shows like us to work and columns to be written and tweets to be made, there has to be some element of chance. You have to poke holes in people. You have to say there's a knock against this team in order to rise the intrigue and talk about them. It can't just be, oh, they're great, they can't be beat. What do we got? We've spent a year on this team, and the best anybody can come up with is, Mahomes has a lot of dropped interceptions, whatever that means. They don't blow teams out. Actually, they do have blowouts on their record, including against Baltimore. It's just fake news. There was a moment where it was like, well, the Raiders beat them. The Raiders are coming. The Raiders. No, that's not it. Last week, me, myself.
You were the hype man for that
huge
moment. Yeah.
Oh, just believe me, I'm the drum major on this. Last week, I was sitting here saying, the Bills have the firepower to keep up with them. Nope again. He played against the Dolphins, Patrick Mahomes, and it was like, oh my God, he threw 3 interceptions. And they won. You know how many times Tom Brady's thrown 3 interceptions in his career? 13, including 5 days ago in the NFC title game. It's just not there. And in the offseason that they win this thing, in the offseason, they're not losing Bieniemy. Again, he's back. They're not losing the critical free agents. They're coming back. And if they beat even Brady couldn't beat them. So if you're rooting for parity and open competition, it's not happening. If they win this one, it's the land of Mordor. Out in full circle. Sorry, guys, but the Chiefs are running the whole damn world.
Don't you think that the Bucs have a little Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White sort of situation?
Yeah, and Brady's old. He's great. You shall not pass. But we're going to pass.
I have a little something for him. I like it.
Maybe so.
Nate, what do you think?
pass.
Yeah, he can, actually.
Yeah. If the Chiefs win, the caterpillar is out of the cocoon.
Okay.
The beautiful butterfly is here. And it is truly the butterfly effect moving forward. It's going to change the history of the NFL. Instead of there being this friendly exchange of Tom Brady saying, here, young fella, here's the torch.
Yeah.
You go and run with it. Or Tom Brady winning and the torch being up for grabs. This is Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs snatching the torch out of Tom Brady's cold, dead hands. And they now have created a dynasty. And I'm not talking about the duck variety with the beards and the fatigues. I'm talking about a true dynasty in all of sports. I mean, let's just take a look at some of the dynasties dating back to like 1990, right? All right, so look at the Patriots, of course.
Yep.
We know about the Bulls. That was the greatest one to me. The Lakers were fantastic. The Yankees, we know, and the Spurs. And of course, there's a lot of people going to say, Nate, what about the Celtics? I know I just want to give a little recent history, but shout out to the Celtics and the Chief and all of that, okay? But I just feel like we oftentimes don't see dynasties in this era because players jump around from place to place. They chase the money. Coaches get plucked from staffs. That's just how the game goes. But when you look at how long they locked Patrick Mahomes in for, the talent that they have, and the way that they bring in talent on this squad, it's almost like they draft and set up their roster in case their superstar leaves. So in case Tyreek Hill goes down or he goes somewhere else, You have a McCall Hartman. They have a host of running backs in case one guy goes down, just like they have this year. So for me, this is the beginning of a dynasty. And I know it's early. People saying, hey, come on, what, 2 Super Bowls? Yeah, but 2 Super Bowls in a row in the fashion that they did it. They win this game, it's going to change everything. And this is the new dynasty in all the sports.
Yeah, I'm going to double down with what you guys are saying and take it to next season, too. And, Kyle, you touched on it briefly, but Eric Bieniemy didn't get hired, so he's coming back. Mike Kafka, the quarterback's coach, who everyone said is going to be either a head coach or an offensive coordinator, he hasn't been hired yet by anyone else. Steve Spagnuolo is coming back. The entire coaching staff is back. Okay, front office. The Panthers interviewed this guy, Ryan Poles. They interviewed a guy named Brant Tillis. They're all in their front office. Not coming back. They didn't get the job. They're all returning to Kansas City.
You spent the whole last offseason saying how the Chiefs are bringing everybody back, all the starters, all the coaching. Again.
It's called the brain drain. And what it is that you don't have anyone lose your entire... You look at the Eagles. They had Joe Douglas taken from them. They had Frank Reich taken from them. They had Joe Schmo taken from them.
He's taken.
They couldn't return.
Coach Schmo is gone.
Coach Joe Schmo is no longer with the Eagles because he was taken by the Ravens as a running backs coach.
Sure.
The Chiefs have kept everyone. Coaches, front office.
Usually doesn't happen, man.
They're back for next year. And then you go to the players, and you're right. Mahomes is locked up for 10 more years. Kelsey's locked up for 6 more years. Tyreek's not going anywhere. The big free agents, and I'm not knocking these guys, are like DeMarcus Robinson and Alex Okafor, which they might be great in March and somewhere else and get a big deal. That's not going to make or break the Chiefs. So my big takeaway is if they win again, the scariest part is that the league didn't pick them apart like a carcass afterwards. And that they're all coming back, the brain trust, the coaches, and even the players. Get comfortable. This show might get a little boring if we're talking Chiefs every week.
Right.
It might not be changing.
But I thought it was Brady that said we ain't going nowhere. Yeah. It's really the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs.
Yeah. Okay. The question is about them winning back-to-back Super Bowls. I mean, it hasn't happened in a long time. This is the longest time that we've gone without having back-to-back Super Bowl champions. The Patriots, of course, did it back in 03, 04. Only 8 teams have done it successfully in all of NFL history. And NFL Network's doing something really cool. They're actually showing the America's games for all 8 of those teams on NFL Network over the next 2 days. So check it out Thursday and Friday starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Check it out. We've got the 79 Steelers, the 1989 49ers, the 93 Cowboys. Then, of course, Friday we will have the 98 Broncos and those 2004 Patriots that I just mentioned. It's going to be showcasing those back-to-back Super Bowl champions, how rare it is given everything we talked about here. Check it out right here starting at 3 on NFL Network. Let's bring in Tom Pelissero now, our NFL Network insider. Tom, the last vacancy, it appears to have been filled. The last domino has fallen. The Texans expected to hire David Culley as their next head coach. Let's talk about this. How did it all go down?
Real surprise in this cycle. The Texans working toward a deal to make David Culley their new head coach. Now, this is a guy who is 65 years old. He spent over 4 decades in coaching, including 27 years in the NFL, most recently with the Ravens. He now gets his first head coaching job, also is the first black head coach hired in this cycle. As for how this transpired, well, they'd interviewed Leslie Frazier a couple of days ago. They brought in David Culley on Wednesday morning. The interview went so well, they brought back Culley yesterday afternoon, and by the evening, they were finalizing a deal. He beats out the likes of Frazier as well as Jim Caldwell. There had been some rumors about Eric Bieniemy, but they did not even contact him for a second interview. They had identified Culley as their guy, and his staff is going to be fascinating. Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator, expected to stay. They intend to hire Lovie Smith into a role most likely as defensive coordinator. And Josh McCown, who of course had a very high-profile interview for the head coaching job, expected to be a part of this staff in some capacity as well. No public comment yet